Hello everyone and welcome to The Scratch, where we talk about music you know, music you don't know, and music you should know. And today we're going to be talking about the debut album from X Ambassadors titled VHS. Now, X Ambassadors is a Brooklyn-based group that actually made their first step into the mainstream in 2004 with Jungle, a collaboration song with Jamie Ann Commons. And this song was actually able to break into the Hot 100, not very high, but it was able to break in there. But that was probably because there were so many commercials around that time that used that song. But if you don't remember, it was a very almost dirty bluesy kind of song that was actually a pretty interesting song to listen to. I do remember listening to it. Follow me into that one. And then, this year, they were actually able to break onto the Hot 100 yet again. In fact, they're still on there with their other song, Renegades, which, once again, was probably able to break onto that because of a commercial, this time for Jeep. But this song's actually pretty good, too. It's got a very, almost pop-folksy vibe to it. So, when I found out that their album was coming out this year, and with the two songs that I heard from them combined, I was actually pretty excited. I wanted to hear this group that, to me, sounded like a mixture between Philip Phillips and Hozier. And for those of you who don't know, I think Hozier's self-titled debut from last year was an amazing album. It's still one of my favorite albums, especially of this century. And I think that Philip Phillips is a very talented performer, but they also have this similar kind of like folk blues kind of background to them, even though Philip Phillips is a little more poppy. I see Jungle being more of almost like a Hozier type of song, and Renegades as being more of a Philip Phillipsy kind of song. So when the album came out, I took a listen to it, and what did I think? And man, is this album so disappointing! And let me explain something right now. It's not the fact that it's not the album I thought it was going to be. And that's totally fine. Once again, I thought it was going to be a Hozier Phillipsy kind of album, but the band that that X Ambassador seems to be trying to be the most, or at least the most influenced by, is Imagine Dragons. Now, Imagine Dragons is a band that I actually really enjoy. I don't particularly love them, but I do hold a lot of respect for them, especially Radioactive. Radioactive is a magnificent song that, if you haven't heard it, I don't know how you haven't, but check it out. And they even make an appearance on the album, in the song Fear. But the main similarity between the two of them, X Ambassadors and Imagine Dragons, is the main producer, Alex da Kid. Now, here's where we take our first step into the big disappointment, because Alex da Kid, let's be honest, he's not a great producer. Sometimes he can pull out a song actually very well. Once again, Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. But a lot of the time, Alex da Kid has these very stiff. He especially likes to put the percussion in the foreground. Now, that can work for some songs, but not every song. In fact, his mixing, he always puts the percussion up front, sometimes a guitar, not often, but when he does that, he also has a tendency to actually put the vocals somewhere in the middle. So everything sounds like a mess, because you're hearing nothing but loud drums, and that's being almost blanketing the vocals. So you can make the vocals out, but they're not as clear as they should be. A great example of this would probably be Superpower, Fear, and it's just also sad because it really drowns out some of the instrumentation that's actually really good. X Ambassadors is actually a really good band. They have a strong keyboardist, drums, guitar. They're actually really good. I took a listen to the live studio session of Gorgeous. A song that on the album is just okay. The live session is actually really good. It's really good. I would say that they should have kept the live instrumentation rather than this overly produced just meh song that sounds like they're trying to be a cross between Imagine Dragons and Maroon 5. In the song Jungle, I didn't notice this the first couple times I had ever heard the song, but then I listened to it again recently, and there's supposed to be a guitar solo. You can't hear it over the loud booming percussion that Alex the Kid puts in the foreground. In fact, you can barely hear it at all. And when I was able to actually finally pick it up, it sounded like it could have been really good, but it's drowned by Alex the Kid's production. And Fear is a mess. Fear is an absolute mess. There's just so much going on, but none of it layers well. None of it's mixed well. It just sounds like a bunch of noise layered on top of each other. And you can't tell that it's two bands. Because of that, Alex the Kid has so much 808 and drum machines on this album, and especially in Fear, that you can't tell it's two bands. It just sounds like two singers almost going at each other in like a competition, in a sense. And it's just really disappointing, because when you can hear the instrumentation, it's really strong. Another thing that's actually really disappointing is it's the disappointing thing also is the lyrics. Now there are glimmers in there that are actually really good, that proves to me that these guys can actually write solid songs. Gorgeous for one, Renegades, of course, Unsteady is actually really good lyrically, but a lot of these songs follow a very similar pattern. Verse, chorus, 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 chorus. Now, I'm not against songs that do that, but when the album seems to follow a formula, except towards the end where it's verse, bridge, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus, it just becomes very repetitive and becomes very uninteresting. Also, some of the lyrics, as much as I think that they are very talented and that they can write very good songs, as proved with the songs I mentioned earlier, yeah, some of these songs just lyrically don't work that well either. Especially Hang On. There's a lot of Indiana Jones references that they either just don't work, or the metaphor itself is just not strong enough. Hang On Like You're Indiana Jones is the one that sticks out the most, mainly because it's in the chorus. It needs a tighter line. Maybe one or two more rewrites probably would have helped, because the metaphor just doesn't work that well. And also, the one other thing on this album that's just annoying is that there are 7 interludes, and these interludes are the reason why it's called VHS, because each of these interludes begins with the sound of a VHS sliding into the VHS player and hearing the word as it's warming up. And there are, I think, 7 on this album. And man, it's so annoying, especially with the sound effect of the VHS itself. It just kind of kills the mood and becomes so distracting, even if they do tie into the next song. However, there are a few good things on this album. B.I.G. is the one song that could have been so much messier than it is, and Alex the Kid somehow actually pulls it off, with like the roaring sirens in the back, as well as a really interesting harmonica towards the end, towards the end of the song. There's a really interesting saxophone line in Naked. And if they want another hit song during this time, I'd go with Naked. Even though it's not one of my favorite songs off the album, I think that it would crack the Hot 100. I think they would actually have a pretty good song on their hand. And there's one other song on the album that I want to talk about. I want to talk about Loveless. Does anyone remember John Newman? John Newman had a song a few years ago, I want to say 2 or 3, with Love Me Again. This big sort of EDM kind of song that had a lot of horns, a lot of drums. Oh my god. This song is just, production-wise at least, it's just a straight rip-off. It's just a straight rip-off. The first time I heard it, I honestly thought that that I clicked on something and that it shuffled. I hit something on my iPod and it shuffled. It's honestly what I thought it was, and I thought it went to John Newman. Man, it's disappointing because the John Newman song is actually really good. It's held up actually very well, and I'm a little surprised at myself at saying that, but it has. So overall, I'm really disappointed in this album. I'm not angry at this album. This album doesn't insult me. I'm just really disappointed because I think that X-Ambassadors can do really good work. And I'm not sure if it's them putting too much faith in Alex the Kid or if they don't know what kind of direction they want to go in. But they have a lot of potential behind them that I really want to see more of. So, with that said, I'm going to give this album a light 6 out of 10. And a recommendation, but a slight one. There's going to be a lot of songs on here that just don't work, but the songs that do work on here, you might find something that's actually interesting, and something that you might like. So thank you guys for watching. If you would like to like this video or subscribe to my channel, I'd be very happy. Also, if there's any albums that you'd like me to review in the future that you know of are coming, mention them in the comments section down below, and I'd be happy to get to them. I might not be able to get to all of your albums. I do work a lot of jobs, but I definitely will give them a try. So, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.